à la fin 2015 pour stimuler l'entrepreneuriat. Alors, nous aimerions savoir, avoir plus d'informations sur le fonds et comment le Rwanda est devenu un hub si impressionnant en Afrique.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, and particularly for allowing me to speak on behalf of my colleague, the Minister of Youth and ICT. I need to explain a bit, but taking a second to explain why I speak in English. As you know, I would have wished to speak like everyone else in French, but the bad political history of our country that many of you know created two generations of refugees that I'm a product of, and depending on where each of the refugees ended up, picked up the languages of the regions. Fortunately, Rwandans speak Kinyarwanda, which is our language, but also fortunately, the lessons we have learned from that bad history is that Rwandan children today and young Rwandans today have an opportunity to not only learn but also speak equally French and English, but also to speak more languages that can increase their competitiveness as a labor force. And in a sense, I think it's a good thing that I'm speaking here in English because at the Francophonie event, because I think we should not make the mistake of thinking that there is any competition in languages, because after all, more languages is better for competitiveness of our youth, of our labor force. And we take particular lesson from this city of Montreal and Canada in general, where predominantly many of the people here are bilingual, both English and French. That makes your labor force more competitive than many.
Well said.
Yes.
I think that it's really important that as we talk about entrepreneurship and youth and women and productivity in the labor force, that we talk about language, because it should never be misconstrued that promotion of Francophonie should be at the expense of language competencies, of other language competencies, which are very important for the productivity of our labor force and indeed for the competitiveness of our countries, particularly African countries. We need to be more broader in language and without necessarily meaning that we are in any way compromising our francophoneness, because this increases competitiveness. Look, this country, Canada, is a member of the Francophonie, but also a member of the Commonwealth. And that can be important. In fact, as our country, Rwanda, was thinking of how to deal with our bad history, part of what we chose to do was to be members of both the Francophonie as well as the Commonwealth, because of that competitiveness that it brings. You should allow me to say this, because you see, language is as equal a tool for labor productivity as ICT, and which is what I'm going to address now. Yes, thank you. Because you see, for Rwanda, we chose also to invest a lot in ICT because we saw that our country can only rely on the productivity of our human capital, and ICT continues to be that enhancing tool for that. And so our whole country has been invested with infrastructure, infrastructure for ICT, and now investing in the labor productivity and investing in the ecosystem for ICT. We now have mobilized $100 million to invest in young entrepreneurs in the ICT sector, centered around technical and vocational training institutions, centered around institutions of higher learning at the universities, but also with private companies that come in to leverage the innovativeness of young people. And then the missing link was the capital, especially startup capital for that. And we see this as the link to the rest of the world, to the innovativeness of young people, to also spur creativity within young people, and especially linking with the culture and creative industries, which we are beginning to see giving some dividends. Now, this also has to do with how to create transformation within the traditional sectors, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in industry, and the traditional trade business that now can leverage the technologies and innovation that young people bring on to bear. And that's the bet that our country has taken, knowing very well that it links not only with the rest of the world, but also that it links with future economies, so that we can both have the transformational growth that is happening, but also leapfrog into the economies of the future, which provides more opportunities for our current young and future generation. Thank you.